Welcome to Making Awesome Season 2, Episode 25. We are joined by Mara Hitner. A lot of you know who she is. You know MatterHackers. She's branded up the way it should be. I really should start getting t-shirts for the people that we have on so I can wear them too. That would have been a smart thing for us to do. But oh well, we're here. Mara, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, give us a bit about your background. I'd love to, people that haven't met you before, let's have them meet you digitally.
All right. Hello. My name is Mara Hitner. I don't know. Is that like a digital handshake? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's good. Hi. My name is Mara Hitner. I am the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships for MatterHackers. And I don't know. I've been in the industry. Here, wait. I gotta take my self view off here, or else I'm gonna stare at myself like a 2-year-old. Here we go. There we go. Now I can just see Grant. Hi.
Oh no.
No, it's better that way. So I bought my first 3D printer in 2014. Actually, it's right back there. That's my little printer. Yeah, my Printabout Simple Metal. That's Johnny 5. Johnny 5 and I have been together since 2014. I actually bought him at MatterHackers before I worked at MatterHackers. And I lobbied them for a job, and they gave one to me, even though there was no job available. I was the director of business development. And then I built the sales team at MatterHackers, and I love just going out and being with the 3D printing community. And I love working with schools with 3D printing, and tiny businesses with 3D printing, and big businesses, and the government. And this industry, I feel like, has just changed a million times. And from like sitting at MatterHackers and watching all of that kind of happen has been really, really interesting. And I just love this community, and I love this technology. And it's great to see you. You and I have been running into each other digitally for quite a bit for the past 2 years.
Yeah, it's always interesting when people that I've met you multiple times, but I've never had the chance to really talk to you one-on-one. You're always with the team, you're doing job interviews, and I'm just poking in saying, hi, whoever's in here, you should work for them. They're pretty great. I'll see you later. Bye. But now to finally be able to talk to you one-on-one, because seriously, MatterHackers and the work that you've done is amazing. And, we say that you are the rock star of MatterHackers for a good reason. There's a little bit about you. You are a rock star, aren't you?
Before COVID, actually, honestly, part of my like origin story is that I don't come from any of this. I'm not an engineer. I don't have a design background. I don't even like consider myself all that great with computers or technology. I sold advertising for many years and sang in rock bands, and I still do sing in rock bands. I've 2 cover bands, tribute bands that I created, and I front woman for here in LA. And
what's your favorite band to cover?
Oh my goodness. Well, so I have 2 bands. I have an 80s cover band and a 90s pop tribute band.
Oh my.
And the 90s pop tribute band is my favorite thing right now.
Well, damn it. I could have done the same intro I do with most people. Give us the Backstreet Boys. The who you are, the where you've been, the what you did, and as long as you love me. Yeah. Nobody gets that joke.
I totally get that joke.
Damn it.
Although my Backstreet Boys, I would have to start with everybody.
I think you would have to do it that way, yes.
That's more my jam. Although I like a little more, like we do a lot of like the rap R&B kind of stuff. Like we do Regulators, and we do Waterfalls, and we do like a lot of one-hit wonders, Get What You Give, and I Get Knocked Down, but I Get Up Again.
Isn't that the most of the 90s, though? We're just one-hit wonders, honestly.
It was a lot. When you dig into it, it's really interesting because this is what we're now going to talk about on a 3D printing podcast.
It's called Making Awesome. It's not a 3D printing podcast.
Yeah. It's really interesting because we do a lot of our big hits that we cover are actually from people that you would associate with the 80s. So like, um, this is a song for the broken hearted. What is that? The Bon Jovi song.
Oh, yep, yep.
Um, why am I blanking on the chorus of that one? It's My Life, right?
Yes, yep.
It's My Life. We do Black and White, Michael Jackson. We
Got to.
do Like a Prayer,
Mm-hmm.
Madonna. Even though like technically that was 1989, like if you think about the video from that song, like it was dark, it was moody, like it ushered in the 90s. So there's
As
a
someone
lot
that
of
was
like,
born after that came out, I don't think I'm able to talk about that too much,
yeah,
but I know what you're talking about.
yeah. But you'll never guess what song we stumbled upon because when you're in an 80s tribute band, like you've got to do the Bon Jovi, Journey, Motley Crue, like
Yeah,
like there's a set.
everyone wants to hear that.
Yeah. But with 90s stuff, it was actually like we had to try stuff out and see because I started the 90s band 7 years ago. And so it was like we didn't really know what people wanted to hear. And we stumbled upon a song that kills every time. Do you remember the song Stay by Lisa Loeb? Was that before your
I was
time?
born in 1990, so I grew up in the 90s, but
Yeah.
I also grew up in the 90s.
Yeah.
Don't remember much of it.
Where there's a song called Say, You Say.
Oh,
I only
yep,
hear what
got
I
it.
want. Yeah, yeah. And that's the reaction every single time. Right?
We got Geek Toy Box in the comments. His name is Dom. He's local to you. He's wondering where you play. I'm guessing he wants to come out and hear you sing.
Oh yeah, if you're in the greater LA area when there's not a global pandemic, we can be found at like concerts in the park around Southern California. Like in the summers, we do a lot of festivals in like Hermosa Beach, Manhattan Beach. We do some stuff in Orange County. For many years, we would play at the Lighthouse in Hermosa, which if anybody has seen, oh god, I'm blanking on the movie recently. I can't remember. It's been in a couple of movies. Legendary Jazz Club. That's
See,
kind
Jazz
of,
Club. I'm a jazz dancer.
La La Land. La La Land.
Oh, La La Land. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Lighthouse is featured prominently in La La Land. But yeah, that's pretty much where you can find us.
So that's like the side gig that keeps you sane in between all the people going crazy over 3D printing, huh?
It's definitely another creative outlet. I will say, so I came before this. I was working in advertising, and I just hated my job. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up, except for be a rock star. And then like I tried doing like singer songwriter stuff, but it just didn't stick, and I didn't love doing it for my main source of income. Which is actually something that I hear from 3D printing folks a lot, like people that decide to start their own Etsy shop, or they get into business of, especially with service bureau kind of work. Which,
don't remind me.
I'm preaching to the choir here, but like it's a thing when you try and take your hobby that you do for fun and try to make that your main source of income.
Yeah, I like to joke that we ran a very successful nonprofit business for the past couple of years because service-based businesses that rely on discretionary spending in the middle of a global pandemic. Yep. We've pivoted a few times, to say the least, but that is the nice thing about this industry. Pivoting is on a dime style level of things. But you started as a business development director, and you've risen to become the VP of Strategic Partnerships. What was that like, or was it just a name change? I know sometimes like, all right, we're just going to change the name. It sounds better. Like, how did you get up those ranks? Must not have been easy.
I think it was just a natural course of when MatterHackers hired me. They didn't really know what I was going to do except for sales. Like I was a sales team of one, and this was back in.
Like you. We'll figure it out, right?
Yeah, or more like I wouldn't leave them alone for 6 months until I took when I saw 3D printing on a TV show in 2013, 2014. And then I flew myself to a trade show in Seattle in the summer of 2014 because I wanted to learn about 3D printing. And as a salesperson, I knew that like if you want to learn about a new thing, you go to a trade show and you just start talking to people. And so that's what I did. And at this trade show was MatterHackers, as well as, lots of different companies, some of which are still around, some of which aren't. But with MatterHackers, I found that like it's a place that I could learn about machines and materials and software, because they sold all of those things.
Yep.
Because I knew nothing. I was adorable. Like I was like, hi, I know nothing, but I can sell things, and I'm really passionate about whatever this is. Um, and so I did buy a 3D printer so that I could, get into it myself. And I went to a class at Dee's Maker in Pasadena that used to make the Bukido, right? Those guys and gals, and started kind of getting into it as a hobby. And then I kind of kept going back to MatterHackers to try and hire me. And then that same 3D printing trade show that was in Seattle, 6 months later, they did one in Burbank. And so I volunteered to help.
What year was that?
This was 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the 3D print show, I think it was called.
I was at the 3D print show we were at the same 3D print show. I was at Burbank in 2014. Right. That was my first big convention I ever went to. Huh.
It was old school, my brother. Yeah, that's where I remember sitting at a Denny's with the guys from See Me CNC. And like,
so accurate.
All the guys from MatterHackers.
Yep.
I was new. I mean, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I just remember sitting at this Denny's, and we had a couple of beverages, and, this guys from CBC, I mean, love them to death, but, they're surly kind of dudes. And yeah. At some point I spoke up and I cracked some joke, and there was like silence for a second. And then they all laughed. And in that, and like,
that shit moment.
Yeah, I think that's when they're like, okay, she's cool. But in that moment, I'm like, I may die. I don't know.
I've had a couple of people ask, is that a Dave Grohl throw pillow in the background?
Hell yeah, it is.
Okay. I have 3 people. I have a DM on Twitter, somebody in the comments, and someone on Discord like, is that a Dave Grohl throw pillow in the background?
I got that Dave Grohl pillow was given to me from one of my coworkers, and then I don't know if you can see Snoop down in the bottom there.
Oh, I can get Snoop.
Snoop.
I've got Snoop too.
Yeah?
Yep, except mine's 3D printed.
Oh, of course it is. Oh, hey! Nice.
Full color Sandstone. We scanned him in the 2017 BET Awards.
Oh, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, so this is mine. I have the file. I have a digital file. I have NFTs before they were cool.
Yeah, really. Seriously.
But you do so much for the industry now. I think there's a big piece of information there of people that are looking to get a job right now at that dream company. Yeah. Be annoying. Not annoying, but be persistent.
Yes.
And eventually, if you create enough buzz and you kind of get yourself out there, they're going to notice you one way or another. But you've turned into quite the powerhouse in the additive manufacturing and 3D printing industry. Not only is an America Makes ambassador, but you are big news with women in 3D printing as well. That's how I always seem to see you, is at the Women in 3D Printing events. Can you talk about what it's like to be an ambassador for America Makes?
Yeah. And I'm actually, before I do that, I'm going to answer your actual question before. The difference between the director of director of business development, which was basically like a sales, like sell the things job that I created because nobody was doing that. And then what I'm doing now with strategic partnerships is really leaning more towards that, towards partnerships, towards finding organizations and maker spaces and things like America Makes and Women in 3D Printing and other organizations that are doing, like Boys and Girls Club, we do some work with. There's a nonprofit called Think Watts here in LA that we're going to be working with on a makerspace.
Awesome.
Kind of those bigger like workforce development, partnerships. It's a slight difference, but but that's really the difference in the role. Is kind of like the higher level, like, okay, but where is this, like, sell the things now, or where is this going in like a year? And those are the kinds of conversations that I get really excited about. And those are the kinds of conversations that we have at America Makes and with Women in 3D Printing. honestly, is that these are sort of like, okay, we know what the, issues are and the gaps are right now. So what are we doing right now to pave the way for things to be better for the industry and for our customers, for the industry's customers, in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years?
Yeah, looking at that growth for the certain amount of time, right?
It's growth, and it's also just what does it look like? Like the one thing, the pandemic made a lot of things clear, and of course, everybody. I'm going to venture that everyone that's watching this probably has made a face shield or two in their
Just a
in their
few.
day. Yeah. So like, I think what with MatterHackers, for those of you who maybe weren't involved with us at the time but had your own organization, we stood up um, a platform where we worked with 5,000 volunteers who were our customers. Between them, they had 11, and yourself included, yep. Between them, they had 11,000 3D printers to put to work and then send the stuff that they made to us, because we do shipping and logistics and we have
Yep.
boxes and labels and stuff. And we had a list of hospitals that were sending in, like, I need 200 shields, I need 600 shields. So like we knew where the need was, and nobody could have done that alone. Like MatterHackers could not have done it alone. Any of our parts. So we really started working with partners more, and partners across the country, small partners, big organizations, during that time. And so I think that like has reshaped the way that I think about getting things done. And that like if I have a big idea, I want to do what I want MatterHackers to do, the part that MatterHackers is good at. But like all of the rest of the stuff that nobody's doing because it's impossible to do it all, bring in partners, bring in the people that are really good at doing the training piece, or the I don't know if electronics is involved or something, something else is involved. Um, Put it together more than do it all yourself.
I have to say, during that time, we were involved. We ended up doing more stuff locally, and that took up all of it. We had 12 printers back then when everything first started. Um, and so we only shipped a little bit out there, but I remember calling to get some information about it. A real human answered the phone. I got every bit of information that I wanted, and I had like a 20-minute conversation all about the industry, what was going on. It was just one of those, huh, this is how you do support right, before a lot of companies were doing support right. And so that's something I want to put out there, right? That MatterHackers really gives a damn about their customers and clientele, because it's really difficult to do that. Anybody that runs a business can tell you the hardest thing is to support after the sale, and you guys do a damn good job of it. I want to make sure that I get that out there.
I really appreciate that, and that's something that we really work hard at. And so I'm glad that that gets translated. And it's true. I mean, look, when I first started at MatterHackers, and I was gonna start the sales team, and I hired my first two people. Nobody had a 3D printer in
Right.
2014 or 2015. So
We
they
were still
actually,
building them back then.
yeah, like 2016, even 2017. Like people, like maybe they saw a YouTube video, maybe they had one at their school. And the last three people that I hired for our team, that are, if you call up and you need help picking out which printer or which material is going to be right for you, and you get connected to the sales team, the last three people that I hired, one of them was actually a customer in medical simulation. So like he purchased his Ultimaker from us for the company, and then was like, yeah, I don't actually want to do medical simulation. I just want to 3D do like 3D printer stuff and like talk about 3D printers. Can I just work for you? And we're like, yeah,
I
you're
guess so, yeah.
super knowledgeable and passionate and like walk the walk, right? And then we just hired somebody else who has been in the maker industry for years and years and years and years, and he knows all about how to put maker spaces together, and all about the different, because we also sell laser cutters and vacuum formers and CNC machines, like everything you need for your lab or your space. So he's just got so much passion, and that's who answers the phone. And then the other person is uh, he actually like he came from like HVAC, like he was an HVAC guy, But like his cover letter was really interesting, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a 3D printing enthusiast," and I'm like, "Well, anybody that says they're a 3D printing enthusiast, I'm going to talk to."
Yeah.
So I get on a video call with the dude, and he's got like 13 printers, like Crealities, behind him.
That's a
And
long
I'm like,
wall. I can only fit 4 to 6 in this
yeah,
at
no,
one time.
this dude, I'm like, what? I'm like, are you like a service period? He's like, no, I have a 3D printer problem. I just keep buying them. I'm like,
That
that's
is
the
a
kind of
problem.
problem. That's
That
the kind of problem that I want to hear more about.
that officially does classify as a problem, because if you don't have a business and you have more than a couple of printers,
Yeah.
that is a problem. Or you have a very understanding spouse, or no spouse, I guess, which
No,
might be more likely.
yeah, he has a very understanding family, and yeah, it's I mean, everyone that we hire is authentically passionate about the technology and also about helping people be successful with that technology.
Right.
Whoever that is, whether it's somebody getting their first printer for their granddaughter or some major, global conglomerate that's putting together a lab and they need, their second 100 printers.
Yeah, I definitely like that. It prioritizing that customer experience is really a big deal. Any small business knows this, and as MatterHackers has grown, you guys have definitely maintained it. But like we mentioned prior, you're really busy as well doing other things. I mean, literally, we were going to be talking for about an hour and a half a day, and we're cutting it to 45 because and this is after hours for you. You're still busy. You got other stuff to do. Is it anything to do with like America Makes Women in 3D Printing, or is it something just unrelated?
It's all sorts of things. I mean, and again, thank you for understanding that I needed to cut it
That's what
just
it's
a
all
little bit
about.
short. I do, as I told you offline, like my integrity. If I give my word, I really really want to keep it. And also, if a client is in town and they change their schedule at the last minute and you just need to meet with them, like I just appreciate that little leeway. It makes a big difference.
It just means I
But
get to
that,
lean on you for a second one later on,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
But I think that's what the passion is. Like
Yeah.
I do try to have a little bit of a balance, but when your passion is also your job, it it doesn't. It's not that hard. Like it's. I'm blessed. What I was gonna say earlier is like I started this as a hobby, and then I was able to make it a full time living, which is something that I wasn't able to do with my music as a hobby to make it a living. But I can now do both. And I don't have to have some crappy day job to like make either of them to support my 3D printing or music habit. They sort of support each other, and so I'm just honestly grateful to be able to be in this community and to do whatever I can. You say that I'm all over the place and I'm so busy, and I just where it comes from is honestly like I want to elevate the community. I want to elevate this technology. I want to raise up voices of people that are doing really cool stuff that people aren't talking about. I want to connect people that are doing really good things on a small scale and like have them come together and do an even better thing on a larger scale. Like that's the kind of stuff like I just I want to be a contribution in anything that I do in life. I come from being a contribution. And when I decide that I want to be a contribution to everybody all the time, sometimes I have to shorten
Gotta
interviews
reel
slightly.
that in a little bit. Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's totally fine. Again,
yeah,
I understand. You are really doing so much for this community, and probably a lot more than you notice, and that's probably the way that it should be, right? We don't want the ego getting so big it's not going to fit through the door back there. But it is astounding to every single time that I'm at an event, especially digital events, you're there, you're on the board, you're doing something. MatterHackers is a title sponsor. You guys are getting out there and making things amazing, especially and I want to specifically call out the women in 3D printing events, because what Janet and some of the others are doing is astounding, and you guys are always there supporting it. Of course, you are a woman in 3D printing. What is it like to be working with a community like that is really pushing to get more women into the STEM and STEAM industry?
yeah. Thanks for asking about that, and thank you for showing up to those events and supporting those events. And, to everybody that's on YouTube and watching this, like, show up to events. I think when you see something that's sponsored by women in 3D printing, it doesn't mean that it's for women only.
Truth.
It actually means equity. It stands for, none of us can do this by ourselves. It's not a male thing or a female thing or a non-binary thing. It's an all thing. So all genders and gender expressions are always welcome. And what Nora and Melody and Sarah and everybody on the board, on the actual board, which I'm not on, I'm more of a support role, but they just work tirelessly to put together really awesome, impactful, informative events where you can meet people that you may not get to meet in other places, whether that's virtually or in person, whether it's at a bigger trade show where they're doing a happy hour, or there are happy hours that they sponsor all over the country. We just finished, the last time I saw you was at the TYPE conference, Technology, Information, People, and something E.
I don't know what it stands for either.
Yeah, it stands for something. It's the different tracks.
Yeah.
It's the different tracks. So it's technology, and whatever it is. But it was 160 something speakers over 2 days, and all of those speakers happen to be women. And They are women that are absolute, as you saw, leaders in their respective fields, everything from architecture and fashion to aerospace and automotive, and like not just the same women that you see popping up here and there once in a while in the larger stages, but women that are doing all sorts of things. And it's important because, like, growing up, I didn't even know that. I mean, 3D printing wasn't as much of a thing when I was growing up, but like even engineering and science and stuff, like, my dad was not an engineer, so I didn't have that much exposure to it. Right. And certainly not exposure in a way that's like, oh, here's a robot. You want to make earrings? You can make earrings with this robot. You just tell it what to do and it makes shit for you. I'd be like, I'm sorry, what? So I think we're at a point now where it's exciting. No matter, I talk often about people having their access point. Like for me, the access point for 3D printing was making jewelry, because I just think jewelry is cool. And if you can make custom jewelry, then why not? And the only way that that people in general, young people, will know about that is if they see it. They see it on YouTube. They see it on, there you go. Yep. That's a nice little SLA print. Yeah. So the more we can get people that, look like the people that we want for women in 3D printing, the goal is to have the industry be a reflection of the people in the world. All the people, all of the expressions of gender, of race, of religion, like everybody has their story to bring to the table and has their contributions to make. And the only way that we do that is by making ourselves available and showing what's possible and how cool what we do is. And then also demonstrating by having people of, women, people of color, people of different backgrounds, people with different viewpoints, different ages, to put them on stages.
Right.
And so that's what women in 3D printing is really about. And it's I get inspired by humans in general. That's kind of what brought me back to your original question about America Makes. What brought me to America Makes is that it's an organization where like cool people talk about stuff, and like stuff that I care about, like how to increase where additive manufacturing and 3D printing, how to move the industry forward in larger circles.
Right. And
so I think to answer that question, I became they made me an ambassador because I just kept hanging around. And
I'm starting to pick up a trend here.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some advice that I should be taking. It's hang around more.
I mean, I often say, and in different facets, actually, in creative endeavors, with my work, with a lot of things, that like if I have any superpower for myself, it's showing up. Like even when I don't want to show up for whatever reason, I show up. And sometimes it's hard to show up. Sometimes you're tired. Sometimes you're not really sure what you're showing up to. Sometimes it feels like you're just working and working and nothing is really making a difference. But somewhere along the line, I learned that if you just keep showing up, good things will happen and you'll sort of align with like-minded people that will value what you bring to the table and that will bring value to you.
That's some major life advice right there. Beyond 3D printing advice, this is why I love doing these, because we can go down a path where we're getting a piece of advice right there. Freaking show the heck up. Be there whether or not you feel as though you're making an impact. Showing up makes all of the difference, because if you don't show up and you're not telling other people to show up too, no one's going to show up to the damn events. And the last thing that event promoters want to have is an event that is empty. That is the one thing that anyone that ever puts on an event is always afraid of. All of these people signed up. What if they don't show? But if you show up, you get there, you talk, you interact, or be a wallflower, whatever's your deal, a lot can come of that. And that's what I love about this community, because I like to say that the STEM industry in general is very much a social place for antisocial people. Makers in general seem to all be slightly more on the introverted side than the extroverted side. Of course, there are always the unicorns out there. I have a feeling you might be one of them, that are very extroverted, that just love getting out there and being a part of the community. And it might be tough for others to do it. That is really a good piece of advice. I hope that those of you that are listening that want to get involved, that maybe want to find yourself in a leadership role of a 3D printing company, be it MatterHackers, 3D Musketeers, pick your poison, showing up makes all the damn difference, seriously. And on the topic of MatterHackers, what do you believe sets you guys apart from other retailers? Because MatterHackers is the self-described, I don't have any way to confirm it or deny it, so I'm going to assume it's true, the largest 3D printing retailer in the world. What's that MatterHackers difference?
I think that's true.
It's on your link. It's on the LinkedIn for MatterHackers, so I assume it's true.
In the country for sure, in the U.S. for sure.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think you hit on it before, like completely unsolicited, when you said that you pick up you can go to MatterHackers and actually speak to a human being that's going to be the same brand of nerd that you are.
It's true. Very much the same brand of nerd.
Yeah. Like we're all just into this same weird little thing. And although it's not as small of a niche as it used to be, thank goodness, we actually do care. We actually do give a shit. We actually do want you to be successful. On the sales side, our sales team is specifically coached not to recommend a print, like the most expensive printer, when really someone just needs a Creality. Like they're not incentivized that way. That's just not what we're about. Look, I come from my previous sales jobs were very, very toxic environments.
A lot of them can be.
Yeah. And so like I specifically, when I set up the sales team, that was my guiding principle of like, let's not be assholes. Let's actually contribute. We have an internal thing that we say of elevate the vibe. Like, don't be talking shit about customers on our calls. Don't keep it positive, keep it real. If there's an issue, fix it. But like, stay positive, elevate. If we elevate the vibe for ourselves, we can elevate the vibe for our customers. Maybe we do this much to elevate the vibe for the world for a moment, where like that person that's on the phone, has a good experience. Because like what I tell people when they first start at MatterHackers or when they're interviewing, I tell them like, your job may look like you're just like sending emails and taking phone calls and writing quotes and stuff, but like really, no kidding, every spool of filament that leaves our warehouses could actually be changing the world. Like no lie, that's just the truth. And that I think we feel that every day, and like what we're doing is important, and what you're doing is important, and what everybody in the chat is doing, is important.
Speaking of the chat, we got Mitch 3D. I believe that's Backpack Printer Mitch.
Of course.
Said, I took a tour of the MatterHackers office when I was in LA a couple of years ago. Just showed up and you guys gave me a full tour right before you closed. Also the beer cart at Murph. Did you
Yep.
all sponsor a beer cart at Murph?
Oh, we had a whole. Oh yeah.
Hell yeah!
It
All
was like,
right, see,
yeah, I think that was
this
the year.
explains why you've poached more than one staff member from my company.
Yeah,
Maybe not you direct. MatterHackers has stolen quite a few people from us. Like,
really.
hey, if you got a beer cart, I can't compete with that.
Yeah.
And look,
No, we did.
there is no hard feeling for me. I think it's amazing that not only are people choosing to enter this industry, they're choosing to stay in it. Likely MatterHackers is offering more than I am. I am not the largest 3D printing service bureau in the nation, if that wasn't immediately obvious to people. But it is all about that composure and air that you guys have there, the vibe, like you said, the elevating of the vibe. And I try to do something similar here. It seems like I got to take some hints from you guys too. I'm picking up on some good stuff. What about America Makes? America Makes is quite a bit specialized, whereas some of the other events that I've seen you at are not so specialized. How did you get involved with America Makes, and what do you do as an ambassador for them?
Yeah. So America Makes, for those of you who don't know, they are a government organization that's under a kind of an umbrella of a bunch of different additive manufacturing and manufacturing organizations across the country. And so they're what they do is they kind of bring government and small business together to solve problems.
Yep.
And to help 3D printing and additive manufacturing advance, mostly on a more industrial level than what MatterHackers would be used to. To be honest, like I got in with them early. Like I've been working with them for probably 4 or 5 years now, and I just really like the people. Like they're just good, smart people that are really trying to make a difference. And I love, one of the favorite things about my job is that I love being able to have that level of conversation about like how 3D printers are being used in different aspects.
Yeah.
Working with people that are working for, different levels of like aerospace and, space travel and, like all of that kind of stuff, which like you wouldn't think like they would be using the kind of stuff that MatterHacker sells, but they do. I mean, we just had a number of partnerships recently that hit the news a little bit that really show they've changed my opinion, I think, a bit about like what 3D printing is really, what kind of an impact it can have. And what I love, and I was thinking about this morning actually, what I really love about MatterHackers, and the reason I've been there for 7 years, like my entire 3D printing career has been at MatterHackers, is like we are able to serve, and we do big contracts and partnerships with large corporations.
Yep.
But we still have our roots in a ton of stuff for the community. We have Quantum PLA, which I know a lot of people have been.
Everybody likes the Quantum.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten my hands on some. I am debating on it, but it's good stuff.
Most people, I don't think, some people don't realize that, like, we have, was the new, like the Revo, nozzles, and we have Creality, and we have Sidewinders, and we have PLA that, when you buy like, I don't know, 12 spools, it goes down to $15 and change. Like we have all of the accessories and like the super nerdy shit. Like we still have our roots in that. So as much as, and there's a number, we're going to be bringing on some of the other sort of low cost 3D printers because we just want people to print. Like, I don't care if you buy a $10,000, Ultimaker or MakerBot or, any of the larger, more industrial printers, or if you just want to get started with a $150 Creality. That's fine. I just want you to print. I just want you to design stuff, or like, show it to your daughter, show it to your friends, get more people involved so we have new ideas.
It's true. It's true. This is what it's all about. Now, I heard you say you guys stock Creality machines too. So if people buy Creality machines through you, you will support them?
Pretty much. We try our best.
Screw it. I'm telling people to buy from you guys. I am so tired of dealing with people that buy Ender 3s and make them my problem. I don't sell printers. They buy them, they break them, they make them my problem. Go buy from MatterHackers. They'll help you.
It's hard because we also like we want people to have a really good experience with 3D printers. And when you buy,
Yes.
all due respect to everybody, like buy wherever you want to buy, totally cool. And for people that like they go to Amazon, they buy their first 3D printer, they have no idea what they're doing. They have a bad experience with that 3D printer, and then that's it for them for 3D printing. And then they tell all their friends that 3D printing is bullshit, and like that like hurts my soul
I
because
want you to know I have said that exact like word for word exact statement. They buy their first printer for Amazon, they have a crappy experience, they're done with it, and they tell everybody this industry sucks.
yeah,
If for the exact way that you say it, God, it's upsetting. It's why we went full force with the YouTube channel to try to stop this from happening. It's I my Ender 3 stays in my garage because it's not a production level machine. It is bought and used specifically for the YouTube channel. That's
yeah.
it. Now they're not bad
Good.
machines,
Yeah, people,
but they're
I
tough.
have they can be everything. Look, 3D everything about 3D printing is tough. Let's not candy coat this. Everybody has
It's not
wrestled.
easy. Yeah.
Everybody has wrestled with a 3D printer, but once you get it, and I have customers who have massive Etsy shops where they're just pumping out like production level product on Crealities or on Sidewinders, or they're using them for educators to like they're a low cost way. Like once you wrestle them to the ground, you're good. It's repeatable, but it's a different kind of experience than if you were to purchase an Ultimaker or a Pulse or something with a little bit more reliability.
It's true, and the Pulse is a good machine. I haven't had a chance to get my hand on one. I know a few of them here in the Tampa Bay area. I might try to steal one for a video. We do have Brian Vines here saying, hey, I bought my first 3D printer on Amazon, had a crappy experience, but took advantage of Amazon's return policy and got it swapped out, and then learned what the heck I was doing. And similar, Brad, who actually is now on our team, I met him because I was a mentor for his FRC team. Similarly, bought an Ender, had a bad experience. I said, look, just go get this printer. Let me help you. And he's now the youngest user of a tool changer on the planet. So he decided I went from one really tough printer to a really tough printer. And, it's plus or minus for him, but he does, of course, enjoy it. And I think that's what this industry is all about, is that community. And, Mara, you and MatterHackers really push and exemplify what that is to the overarching community of the 3D printing industry itself. And this is what I love about you. It's what I love about MatterHackers. You guys are truly pushing for democratization in a way that is efficient. We're not trying to reach a suicidal race the bottom price point. You're pushing for something that's reasonable where people can afford it, but they're learning at the same time. And I think that that is a really big key factor about what you guys do, especially on the sales side. Your salespeople are not just selling, they're educating at the same time. Is that correct?
It is. Yeah, I appreciate that. And honestly, like the partnerships that I'm looking for right now are definitely I need to grow my network, if I can use your platform for a moment. Anyone that does have a maker space or has a space where they are doing some sort of education or would like to be doing some education, that's a network that I would like to expand for myself. So
There are a
just
few that I am
just
involved in.
FYI. Yeah, because there's such great spaces out there, and especially like as we come out of this pandemic and as people are starting opening back up and schools are getting back into session, and you've got teachers that have the new round of teachers that's coming that needs to learn how to use the machines and stuff. That education piece I think is really really important.
Yep. Education to me is the biggest thing that we have in this industry. It's why we have the YouTube channel. It's why people are going to see, like, I don't know, 7 or 8 blogs on the website in the next 3 or 4 days. We're pushing education for a big reason as well. You and I will have to talk off
Yes.
stream about that, because there are some things that are coming through the pipes that I at least want to make you aware of. Whether or not MatterHackers becomes involved is, of course, a different thing. It
Yeah.
is amazing to me to see what you are doing. Is there any, because I know we got to wrap soon. You
Yes.
got some places to go. Any final thoughts that you have?
I just really appreciate you, and I appreciate this platform that you've created, and the difference that you're making in the community, and that you're wanting to make in the community. I appreciate you supporting women in 3D printing and America Makes, and really participating in anything, in the things where you feel like you can make a difference. I mean, you're living it. You're living it just as much as I am. So thank you for having me on. Thank you everybody who took their time to spend some additional screen time in their evening and hang out with us.
We had Jimmy Johansson on here who lives in Sweden. So we had some
Hey,
people staying up late to listen to you, which is pretty cool.
nice. And I see Justin is here.
Yep. Happy birthday, Justin. Now you're finally an adult. Now your decisions matter.
Happy birthday, Justin.
um, and we did have one question that I skipped because I wanted to ask it at the end. There is a guitar and CDs behind you in a case. What is it and why is it there?
Long story short, many years ago, I had opportunity twice to be a singer with the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. You can Google Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. There's even a really good documentary, but like Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp is an actual thing. I was working in the music industry at the time, so I was kind of brought in as a ringer because they needed a singer. And I got to, I mean, those CDs and the guitar are signed by like members of Queen and AC/DC and
Oh shit.
Aerosmith and Poison and Steve Vai and like all these real rock stars that I had the absolute privilege to like spend time with and learn from and perform with
That's cool.
during this program. So that's my one of my prized possessions. And during the pandemic, when we all got sent home, it honestly just so happened that like this is where my desk is and this is my background. So it worked out.
I think you now qualify as having the official coolest background that we've had on this podcast. So we'll give you props for that. I have seen off a podcast, I've seen a Grammy in the background of someone's video,
Ooh.
but never signed guitars and things. So that's really cool. Mara, you are quite literally the rock star of the 3D printing community. This is awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I know you got to go. We got to schedule another one here relatively soon. Let's get you booked up in the next quarter or so for another one where we can sit down and kind of jump into the nitty gritty of what it's been like to work your way up in a company. I'd love to talk about that a little bit deeper.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you again for your time. Thank you to all your viewers, and
See you
out there in real person. What's that?
Do you know my outro?
I don't. What's your outro?
Okay. Well, guys, stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. And as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Season 2, episode 25. Like, subscribe, the things I'm supposed to say, but deliberately avoid during podcasts. Go check out MatterHackers. Go buy some Quantum whenever it's in stock. Get your buying bots on those. We'll see you guys later.